I thought you said if we destroyed the brain, it'd die.
It worked in the movie!
Well, it ain't working now, Frank.
You mean the movie lied?
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Smif and Laly. Of course, I'm Smif, and in today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I want to take a look and kind of talk about one of my favorite movies of all time, and that's going to be Return of the Living Dead. So stick around all the way to the end. Let me tell you about this film. The Return of the Living Dead is my personal all-time favorite zombie flick, and I've been a fan of zombie movies ever since. The film was adapted from the novel Return of the Living Dead by John Russo, but was ultimately written and directed by Dan O'Bannon. Released in 1985, the film stars James Karen and Tom Matthews as Frank and Freddy, who also show up in Return of the Living Dead 2 as Eddie and Joey, but yeah, we'll talk about that later. The film tells a story of how a warehouse owner and his two employees try to deal with an accidental release of a toxic gas that inadvertently creates a horde of unkillable zombies. The John Russo novel, Return of the Living Dead, was a follow-up to the classic Night of the Living Dead, which Russo co-wrote with father of modern zombie lore, George A. Romero. However, when Russo and Romero parted ways after Night of the Living Dead, Russo retained the rights to any titles featuring the words Living Dead, while Romero was free to create his own series of Dead sequels, which he did, beginning with Dawn of the Dead. So, Return was initially intended to be a sequel, but as a result of the disagreement with Russo and Romero over how to follow up their 1968 film, Russo went on to write the horror novel, which in turn he helped adapt as the screenplay for Return of the Living Dead. After 17 years, there were several major differences between Night and Return. For example, in the 1968 Romero film, it is implied that the reanimation of the dead is caused by radiation from a space probe that exploded while returning from Venus. Also, the returned dead are referred to as ghouls or flesh eaters, and they are non-speaking, non-thinking, slow-moving creatures that are driven by an insatiable appetite for human flesh. In the 1985 film, the dead are brought back by the 2,4,5-trioxin toxic chemical developed by the Darrow Chemical Company for the military. The creatures aren't really labeled in the film, but the character Spider does refer to one specific creature as the Tar Man. The Tar Man just also happened to be the first zombie to reveal its desire for human brains, which is now a common trope in zombie media. Unlike their counterparts in Night of the Living Dead, these zombies can actually think, they can move pretty fast, and they can even speak. However, the biggest and scariest difference between the two films are these zombies are pretty much unkillable. Shooting the zombies in the head, chopping them up, or even cremating them doesn't seem to do the trick. Nothing seems to work. In fact, cremation may only make things worse. Here, let's go a little further. So after Bert, Frank, and Freddy discover that every part of the zombie's body can survive independently, Bert reaches out to his mortician friend Ernie to cremate the remains, which in turn causes the deadly gas to contaminate the air, creating a toxic rainfall that reanimates the corpses in the nearby cemetery where Freddy's girlfriend and their friends are waiting to pick him up after work. From here, all the awesome chaos that is Return of the Living Dead ensues. The series went on to produce 4 sequels, Return of the Living Dead Part 2 in 1988, which oddly also starred James Karen and Tom Matthews, but this time as bungling grave robbers Ed and Joey. Then, in 1993, we got the last decent Living Dead film with Return of the Living Dead 3. In this film, the beautiful Melinda Clarke became my first and only zombie crush. Then, the cheesy parts 4 and 5, which were both filmed in 2005 in Romania as made-for-TV sequels on the Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah, let's not even talk about that any further. I guess what I'm trying to say in closing is that Return of the Living Dead is my favorite zombie film for a couple of reasons, but one of the main reasons is simply, if you ask me, they have the most terrifying zombies because unlike every other film, these guys cannot be stopped and they can use logic and they can strategize. And when you think about it, if you cremate their ashes, they can actually cause more zombies by infecting other people. If you breathe in the toxic gas, you can also become one of the undead. So I love this series. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. It's a fun series to watch if you're a zombie nerd such as myself and Laly. But if you're not, I don't know what to tell you. Either way, other than that, I want to thank you for watching our video, and I'm going to leave you with a final scene just to kind of check it out, enjoy it, have a good time, and if you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so. All right? Thank you for watching. Have a great day.
God, my skin's really burning.
Hey, Tina!
Oh, God! Help me!
That's Tina.
That's
Through that door! Watch your fucking step!